retirement can be complicated, and today's uncertainty can add to the confusion.
How do I know if I have enough money to last retirement?
Do I have to file taxes when I retire?
How can I maximize the amount of money I get when I retire?
Is there a right or wrong way to file for Social Security?
Can I leave money for my children without going through probate?
We are all unique, and your retirement plan should be just as unique. We have the experience and knowledge to help you make the right choices, giving you more time for what really matters most. Thank you for joining us on Retirement Now with your host, April Roberts.
And welcome to Retirement Now TV. My name is Cynthia DeFazio. I'm joined today by April Roberts. April is CEO, owner, and Chief Financial Planner of Roberts Wealth Management. Good morning, April. It's good to see you.
Morning, Cynthia. As always, it's a pleasure to see you.
Thank you. You look gorgeous in that color. I love you in blue.
Thank you. I love your purple.
Thank you. And I definitely want to pay attention to our special guest today. Can you tell the viewing audience who we brought on the show with us?
Absolutely. So I have known the special guest for his entire life. He hasn't known me my entire life. He is my little brother, Paul Roberts.
Little brother. I love it, right? We never outgrow some things, do we, Cynthia?
No, they stick with you forever.
Yes, yep.
And Paul, you are also a very well-known, world-renowned, if you will, financial planner as well.
That is. We operate out of Mississippi, and we're here in Texas this week visiting. Get to do a little bit of fishing out here. I enjoy y'all's fish, so I'm having a great week, and it's always a pleasure to visit.
Yes, don't you have a story to share about fishing?
I do. I love when Paul comes. So I lived in Kemah for a little bit of time on the water because we grew up in Mississippi on the water. And Paul came to visit and was out fishing all night apparently. And when I woke up early in the morning, there was a cooler full of fish already filleted on my back patio. So I love when he comes to visit and fishes as well.
Definitely. It's going to be healthy eating the whole way around.
That's right. That's right.
Well, April, I want to talk to you a little bit just about how the business is going for you right now. With the planning for retirement, a lot of the viewing audience, perhaps, they don't have a true comprehensive written retirement plan. They may get their statements in the mail. And I think it's so important to talk about what is the difference between pulling your statement out of the mail and what you can do for someone, which is the true comprehensive written retirement plan.
Well, Cynthia, I love this. And I've been doing this since 2008. So people thought I lost my mind when I left my law career to become a financial planner in 2008, you know, the last big crash. But because of that, I fell in love with what we do immediately because I saw the impact we can make on people's lives. Fast forward to 2020, I've been doing this for 12 years with my dad, and my brother joined the business as well. And what a crazy year we're having this year. So, you know, since March, I can't tell you how many 401ks I've looked at for clients. People have brought their friends in, family members, and, you know, I think they're suddenly realizing, wow, I thought everything was okay. March took me, you know, out of the game, and I really don't know what I'm doing. And it's never too early to start planning. So, you know, what a great financial advisor can do for you is help you have a clear vision of what the future can look like. And that's what we do for our clients. And, you know, I think it's really important once you have that plan in place, you have to consistently monitor it, because what if we have another crazy year like this one?
Oh, sure. Unexpected things happening with COVID-19 and what have you. So I want to go back just a little bit. So your father is also in the business. Can we talk a little bit about that? Because now obviously there's you, and you're so successful and so wonderful at what you do. We have Paul. So it's very rare to see an entire family in the same industry.
Yeah, it's interesting. In fact, my mom has a rule we're not allowed to talk business at the Thanksgiving table. So.
I was going to ask you about how Sunday dinners go.
Quite carried away on the holidays, so we have to put rules in place.
Thank goodness my mom's a good mama bear, so she keeps everyone in line. So, you know, we're a family who does business together and still loves each other. So that's really important. But, you know, it's interesting. Paul runs his business, I run mine. And so Dad really set us up that way. He wanted us all in the business. He was a CPA for 22 years, and he saw that his clients really didn't have thorough plans in their finances, and they were consistently losing. So when he got a little burnt out on the CPA world, he went and got his financial licenses and started Roberts Wealth Management about the time I was going off to college or law school. So, you know, mid-90s. And so he's been doing it for a long time, which was beneficial for us because he figured out the right way to do it well and take care of people. So fast fast forward to 2008, I was going through a divorce and found myself back home in Mississippi. I hadn't really lived there since I left for college. And I was practicing law, and I actually would just go to my dad's seminars because, you know, he gave dinner seminars, and I just liked being with him. And so I would go and greet the people and seat them. You know, I'm practicing law by day. And then I started hanging around the office, and I was like, wow, I really love what you do. Because as a lawyer, I inherited problems. So I was always fixing things for people.
Sure.
And I saw that by planning, my dad was, you know, setting a plan in place for people, trying to avoid problems in the future. So that just became very appealing to me. And so I left my law career and jumped into finances. And 2 years later, I moved to Houston and opened our office in 2010.
And how many people do you have currently in your office now, April?
Gosh, we have about 10 of us total.
Wow.
So my dad and I are the two financial advisors. He kind of hops around offices. He worked with my brother for a while, then my sister. He just refuses to retire. He's 71 and he loves what we do. So he comes into the office. He still has his clients. He's in a few days a week. And so he's working with us. And then we have a team of other people that help take care of our clients.
Okay.
Yeah.
So obviously the retirement planning is such a huge component. Do you also specialize in perhaps estate planning, tax planning? Are you doing all of that as well?
Yeah, so the interesting thing is because I was a lawyer, or I am a lawyer, and my dad's a CPA, everyone says, oh, great, you can do my taxes and estate planning. Well, in our opinion, that's malpractice because you can't be good at everything.
Okay.
So, you know, but we have CPAs and estate planners that we work with.
Excellent.
I love to sit in those meetings with our clients because we know their whole financial picture. And kind of like when you go to the doctor, Cynthia, I'm sure all the time you forget to tell the doctor something, right? So with us being there with our clients, I'm kind of like that second voice. Hey, remember, ask them this, you know, or what about you don't want your kids to do this? Because as Paul can tell you, I mean, our clients really become part of our family, and we know, you know, everything about their family dynamic and what's important to them and their values. And a lot of times lawyers and CPAs don't ask these questions.
Yeah, absolutely. Are you often surprised at the staggering number of people that do not have a written retirement plan? Is it something that just blows your mind, if you will, when you hear that?
It does, you know, and I say this differently. Everyone has a plan. It's just a something here, something there, something there. It's what my dad calls a garage sale portfolio or plan, right? You picked up something here, something here. So it's our job to pull that together, show you what it looks like. And if you like what you see, great, we're going to part as friends. But if you don't, we're either going to do some tweaks, or sometimes you need a complete overhaul so that you have a plan in place.
Sure.
You know, so we can get you to and through retirement, we like to say.
Sure.
Yeah, I agree with that, April. A lot of people have, no, it's not that they don't have plans, it's just that their plans fall short.
Okay.
You know, so many people think, well, I've saved money, I have a portfolio, so I'm good to go for retirement. Well, that's great that you've saved or you've diversified a portfolio, but that's just step one.
Yeah.
And proper, full, comprehensive retirement plan is so much more and so much more in depth. You know, we've got to look at income, taxation, all the other aspects of really building a real comprehensive retirement plan.
Absolutely.
I agree. And, you know, think about it. If someone had a plan they set in place 3 years ago even, and they haven't looked at it, the world is changing so fast. You have to have an advisor who's up with the latest trends, constantly getting educated, you know. That's why my dad loves having 3 younger children in the business. We travel to all the conferences and bring back the new information, and he has the wisdom, right? So we combine.
I love that. Well, April, Paul, it's about time for us to open up the phone lines, and I know that we have a very special offer to the viewing audience at home. To our viewing audience at home, that number to call once again is 713-999-4499. For today's first 15 callers, you will have the opportunity to have a complimentary consultation with April or one of her staff. This complimentary consultation is to you at no cost at all. The number to call once again is 713-999-4499. We know you have a lot of questions about planning your perfect retirement. April is here to help guide you on the path to give you peace of mind and comfort. Again, after this short commercial break, we're going to be right back with more questions and answers for you. The number again is 713-999-4499. We'll be back momentarily.
How confident are you in your current financial plan? Do you know with certainty how the recent market volatility will affect your future hopes and dreams? How much are you paying in taxes? And how much are you losing to unnecessary high fees? You didn't work to save this money so that you could spend your time worried in retirement. Now is the time to take charge of your finances so you can feel confident about your future. Call in during the next 30 minutes of today's show only to set up an absolutely complimentary, no obligation, full-blown financial review that will result in your own customized written plan. This is a $999 value that we're giving away complimentary to the first 10 people who respond. We'll start with a full-blown analysis of what you already have, by running a report to untangle how much you are currently paying in fees, how you're allocated for risk, and what it's costing to work with your current advisor. Next, we'll identify your goals. Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? Where do you want to go, and who do you hope to go there with? Is your current financial plan set up to get you there without mishap? Let's design a roadmap to create a financial plan you can follow with confidence. Get the piece that so many people are missing from their retirement. Find out how having a written plan can make a difference to your retirement dreams. Call now to schedule your complimentary, no obligation, full-blown financial review today.
And welcome back to Retirement Now TV. My name is Cynthia DeFazio. I'm joined today by April Roberts. She's CEO, owner, and chief financial planner of Roberts Wealth Management, as well as Paul Roberts, who's also financial planner. So nice to have you both on the same show. It's really awesome. So thank you again. April, I want to ask you a question. We hear so often people talk about a retirement income gap. To the viewing audience who may not know what that is, can you explain a little bit about that?
Absolutely. So a lot of times, especially here in Houston, people tend to get paid well, right? Income's coming in, you're working, you don't worry about income. So your focus is on growing your money, saving your money and growing it. Well, I always like to say in retirement, it's critical that you have an income bucket and a growth bucket. And when you combine these two, we're gonna have a mess, right? So when we're planning for retirement, we wanna look and see, okay, when the paycheck stops, what does income coming in look like? And if it's just Social Security, like it is for most people, then we probably have a gap. So the gap would be the difference in, cash flow out, what you spend for the month as a family, and cash flow coming in.
Okay.
And so this is really critical to retirement planning. And it's really important that people understand how much they spend so that we can fix that gap.
Okay. Paul, are you seeing a lot of that same question about having a retirement income gap, and how do you help someone avoid having that?
Well, we see a lot of lack of income planning in retirement. As y'all were stating, a lot of people, they save some money, they have a portfolio, and they plan to use that money. But how are you going to utilize that money? How is it going to be sustainable? How are you going to make sure that money lasts the rest of your life?
Sure.
And we also like to project into the future and look at future income gaps that may occur, like survivorship. Is one Social Security benefit going to disappear from the household with the loss of one loved one? What about your pensions? Is there any future income gap there? What about inflation? Is inflation going to keep up with Social Security? But when people have real written income plans and they know how they're going to take care of survivorship and they know that they're going to offset inflation, they have the peace of mind to sit back and enjoy and live retirement, and get all the fun part of retirement. Enjoy it,
Sure.
You didn't work hard so you could sit around and worry the rest of your life when you get there,
You
right?
want to enjoy it. Are you seeing a lot of people that are coming in right now and saying that they want to take trips or maybe get an RV and go across the country?
Absolutely. And Cynthia, this year, it's been such a crazy year. And I think this notion, a lot of people have had interrupted income.
Sure.
And so one of the most important tenets, I say, to prepare for retirement, let's get you uninterrupted lifetime income. Let's grow your money, because just because you're retired doesn't mean we can stick it under the mattress, but we have to grow it smartly.
Sure.
And number 3, what I'm going to add to what Paul said is, let's be as tax efficient with the income stream as we can.
Sure.
Because, Uncle Sam isn't that nice. He's not going to say, hey, Cynthia, I'm sorry you overpaid taxes in retirement. Here's a check back, right? So, a lot of people are worried now, but let's focus on what we can control, and we can control those 3 things.
That's right. We're always telling people, focus on the sure thing dollars, not the maybe dollars, right? If we invest and speculate in an investment, it's a maybe dollar. Maybe we'll make money, maybe we won't. But too many people are jumping over and missing those sure thing dollars. How do we save fees? How do we save taxes, right? How do we create that efficiency April's talking about?
Absolutely.
Every dollar in your pocket is a dollar that you made, right?
Absolutely. April, how important is it for someone to get a second opinion if they have what they feel is a good plan in place, if you will? How important is it to have a second opinion from not that same advisor, but from someone new?
I think it's critical. You know what Warren Buffett always says? You don't know who's wearing swim trunks till the tide goes out.
Okay.
And the tide went out this year. And suddenly people realized they didn't have swim trunks on.
Yeah.
So, why would you not take this time when it's time to focus on the future and what the world's going to look like?
Sure.
And make sure with everything else that we cannot control, let's make sure that you feel confident in your finances.
Yeah.
And, another friend of mine says the only thing you can control is putting generators on your house. He lives in LA, and when the power outages went on and everybody was like, oh, I can't believe the city of LA did this. I can't believe the state of California. We live in the United States. And he said, I was mad at myself because I didn't have a generator on my house to protect my family. So you know what? No one's coming to save us. We have to have that person we trust to guide us through this.
Sure, absolutely. April, what does it feel like when someone comes into the office to sit with you or one of the team members? What is that experience like for the viewing audience in case they don't know?
Well, I like to warn people it's a little bit different when you talk to us. I mean, we have a beautiful office. We have nice treats in the lobby and coffee, and sometimes people are afraid to take that. Please take it, all right? And we make sure it's a safe environment. And when they come in what we call our discovery meeting, the first thing I want to talk about is their values.
Okay.
And values sounds like a deep topic, but Cynthia, when you wake up, what puts a smile on your face? And for a lot of people at this point in their life, it's their grandkids, it's, getting to travel, it's their faith, their health. And so we want to talk about what's important to them at this point in life. And sometimes people haven't had this discussion as a couple if they're married, right? So it's very interesting. And then we help them set financial goals that back up those values and what's important to them. And then that's what I call the soft stuff. And then we get to the hard stuff, like, okay, how much do you have in your 401k? How much do you have in your pension? And what we do is my team and I analyze between the first and the second meeting all of this combined and show them where there are gaps in their plan or where they could do better.
Absolutely. How long does that typical consultation take with you if it's just the first one out of the gate?
So now we're offering virtual and in office, obviously being safe for anyone who comes in and taking precautions. I find in office it takes an hour and a half because people warm up and we allow an hour and a half so they're not rushed. If we get done in 45 minutes or an hour, great. That's my calendar, not theirs. I'm learning that virtually people are a little faster. So we tend to wrap up in an hour, but I still allow an hour and a half because it's really important. This is their first time with us, and if they have questions, we want to make sure to be available.
Sure. And is there a checklist that they would follow of things that they would need to bring in for the first consultation with you?
Absolutely. So we give them a family questionnaire. It's just a front and back. It doesn't talk about anything in depth or anything private. It just lets us know how they think about their money, like how much risk they're willing to take, if they have a will or a trust. It's just kind of organizing. And then we give them a list of recommended items to bring in or send to us before the first meeting.
Okay. And if I want to ask you, when you're putting together a comprehensive written retirement plan, what components do you consider that you're pulling in? Are you coming in with taxes, looking at long-term care? What does that plan encompass?
Everything.
Okay.
So I kind of joke, everyone, if you imagine when you're driving down the highway, you have blind spots in your car, right?
Sure.
Everyone has blind spots in their finances, and because Paul and I and financial advisors like us, we do this every day, we kind of know where the blind spots are. So, you absolutely want to look at everything. It's going back to generators, right? The long-term care, life insurance, getting your taxes in order. We invested in some tax software. We're not going to be your CPA, but we can double check what your CPA is doing for you, right?
Okay.
And we can also make sure that our plan is tax efficient for you. So I just think, now more than ever, every decision you make is critical. And the more we can guide our clients to make the best decisions for themselves and their families, the easier it is for them to go enjoy life, which is really what drives us.
Absolutely. And April, we're going to go ahead and open up those phone lines once again. Can you tell the viewing audience what they can expect to receive by being one of your next 15 callers?
Yes, absolutely. So our first 15 callers gets that complimentary discovery meeting that we talked about. So again, we'll sit down, have a nice cup of coffee or whatever you prefer to drink, and we'll chat about what's important to you and your family, both just in general, your values, and also your financial goals. And then we'll cover what you currently have in place. And again, after that, our team will come back to you. We'll have a second meeting, also complimentary, where we analyze how you currently stand. Because if you don't know where you are, you don't know if you should make changes or not. So sometimes you'll find out you're paying too much in fees, you're paying too much in taxes. Sometimes you just need an overhaul in investments. So we'd love for the first 15 callers who call in, come in and visit with us in the office.
April, thank you so much. Paul, thank you so much. To our viewing audience at home, that number to call once again is 713-999-4499. We know the phone lines were busy during our last break, so we've added an additional phone line for your convenience. That number to call once again is 713-999-4499. When we return from this short commercial break, we're going to have more questions and answers for April about planning your perfect retirement. Please stay tuned.
As a good saver, you've been putting away money during your working years. Studies find that the biggest fear of retirees is running out of money. Market volatility isn't just the downward movement of stock prices, it's the size and frequency of change. The more dramatic the ups and downs, the higher the volatility. This can put savers who are newly retired or a few years away from being retired at greater risk. Today's generation of retirees is not receiving traditional pensions as our parents or grandparents did. Instead, we have retirement accounts such as 401ks or 403bs. These accounts typically expose your money to market risk. The last thing you want right before retirement is to lose a portion of the money you need for income. But how do you turn these accounts into a retirement income? Is it safe to keep all your retirement money sitting in the stock market? The last thing you want is to lose a portion of the money you need for income due to market loss. By working with a financial professional, you can learn how to turn a portion of your savings into an income stream for life and income for the life of your spouse if you're married. We all have moments in our lives when we wish we had taken action sooner. Don't let procrastination reign on your retirement parade. Act now before it's too late. Please call our office to set up your no-cost, no-obligation retirement income review today.
And welcome back to Retirement Now TV. My name is Cynthia DeFazio. I'm joined today by April Roberts. She's CEO, owner, and Chief Financial Planner of Roberts Wealth Management, as well as Paul Roberts, excellent fisherman. That's what we should say.
I feel the freezer, right, Cynthia?
I had to throw that in because that's awesome. I love that you did that for your sister. That is the sweetest thing I've heard today. So April, I want to talk to you a little bit about maybe viewers that are a little bit, I don't want to say younger, but perhaps not as close to retirement, if you will. Let's say they're in the audience today and they're sitting with a cup of coffee. They're 10 to 20 years out from retirement. Yeah. What kind of guidance can you give them?
So Cynthia, I like to say the sooner we see you, the better, you know. That being said, I'd say half of our clients come to us before retirement, half after, because they still want a second opinion on if they're doing the right thing, right? Okay. But, you know, just the other day I sat down with a 27-year-old. She was referred by a client of ours. They worked together. And she had some old 401ks. And when I looked at her current 401k, I mean, I've been looking at 401ks almost every day because suddenly people are very concerned. And she had terrible investments in her 401k. And here she is, age 27, making good money and saving money. I mean, she could be a multi-millionaire just by staying at the level she is until retirement, but she had terrible investments in her 401k. So, you know, there are always little tweaks you can do, but really there's any time, you know, Paul jokes that sometimes people show up a month before retirement and we're scrambling, but you know, we inherit what walks in the door and we're gonna work darn hard and do our best to make the best plan for you no matter what the situation.
Absolutely. And Paul, I know that you've seen multiple generations of families come in, and that's very rewarding.
It is. It is. It's fantastic when we get to meet the next generation and the next generation. and especially when we have generational wealth planning for families,
Sure.
and when it gets into estate planning, inheritance planning, all of the nature. To me, it's just so much fun because you know the reward in the end. And also, you know, one day, eventually, those kids are going to come in, they're going to be really happy that you, that you sat down with their parents and took care of all of the things that you took care of. And they don't have this big tax bomb going off. And, you know,
most definitely.
So, yeah, that's it. But also to take that off of the family,
Sure.
you know, before that day that comes that's inevitable to all of us.
Absolutely.
As if clients have done proper estate planning and inheritance planning, it is such a smoother operation. It's so much easier on the family, and it's not such a big burdensome, trying time, you know, in life later.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you, Paul. April, what about if someone is 5 years away from retirement? How does that trajectory change for that person?
Well, I just think, you know, sooner they're going to have to fill that income gap, because in today's world, almost everyone has an income gap, right? Only about a third of the people we see have pension setups. So most people can't live off Social Security alone in today's world, right?
Sure.
And so they're going to have an income gap. So, you know, at 5 years out, we're probably more focused on the income scenario than we would someone 20 years from retirement, for example. At that point, we're just trying to smartly grow their money. The closer you get to retirement, it's really important you have that income bucket and the growth bucket set up that I talked about earlier.
Did you see any changes with COVID-19 as far as when people were retiring? Are they retiring earlier, or are they waiting longer?
Absolutely. So we've had to ask for patience on our clients' part because our calendar is absolutely full.
I'm sure.
I remember one Saturday I had 7 Zoom calls, and I normally don't take meetings on Saturday.
Right.
But clients getting offered packages, etc. You know, everyone needs help right now with financial planning.
Absolutely. Are you finding that to be the same?
Yeah, and well, there's also, and we've been seeing that there's a lot of people means testing, as we refer to it right now. You know, I've got furloughed, or I've been laid off, and I'm 60 and I'm not sure if I'm going to get picked back up, so I need to start seeing if I have the means to do the retirement that I want. There's going to be a lot of forced early retirements coming our way in America over the next 12 to 24 months. And there's going to be a lot of people walking the door saying, I don't know if I can find another job. Can I do this?
Sure.
You know, it's
and
wonderful.
I agree with Paul. You know, there are some people being forced to, and there are other people choosing to. Because imagine if you're a teacher and you've been teaching for 30 years, and suddenly you have to learn to teach virtually. And even a lot of healthcare workers, I mean, you know, people are saying, hey, I would really love to retire. Can I?
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
And that's important.
Peace of mind that you're giving them when you're saying, you know what, you're fine. You can go ahead and retire and enjoy life, which is amazing for you to be able to do. April, we only have about a little under a minute left of the show. Can you tell the viewing audience one final time what they can expect to receive by calling in today?
Yes, for everyone who calls in, we'd love to sit down for that discovery meeting we talked about, where we talk about what's important to you and your family and set financial goals. And then what our team and I are going to do is sit down and evaluate what you currently have and see if it's backing up those values and goals, and if you truly do have a fully comprehensive plan. Let's make sure we get rid of all those blind spots. So please don't hesitate. Give us a call and come in for that discovery meeting. 713-999-4499.
April, always a pleasure to be with you. Paul, especially nice to be with you this week as well.
Love it.
Thank you so much for watching. We hope to see you again next week. Be safe, be happy, be blessed. Thank you again.